I think we can all agree we have had to adapt over since March and the pandemic that is hitting us here in the United States. And one of the things I've started to notice is how we are educating and how we're educating differently. I got off the call with my team today, and we had this conversation about the schedule for the next 6 months. And the number one thing that came up was I don't know if my kids will be in school next this coming fall. Instead, they may be doing it online like they did in the spring, which changes everything from the standpoint of working and being able to go to appointments and do business. And so I got to thinking, and I was going through Twitter and a couple other sites, and I found this posting about the rise in online education and homeschooling. What I saw was a decrease in childcare. Now, think about it. Are you going to put your child into a childcare facility, young age, with all these other kids? And they're, of course, touching each other and they're touching things and they're eating things. And you're not going to do that to your kid because chances are the increase probability of getting the coronavirus for your child, which can be devastating to their health, is higher than ever. Okay? So, what do? Well, we're being forced to stay home. And I think you all can relate to this. We're forced to stay home and we're forced to do education at home. And I'm seeing it within my team. The question is in my team is how do I balance this full-time position with educating my kids and keeping my kids entertained throughout the day? And then how do I create a social environment? And what Google showed in their stats since the first of the year is that spike in homeschooling. I think a lot of people are starting to question, are we homeschooling my kids now? And what if so, what's the purpose of maybe paying for private education? What's the purpose of spending money to send my kid to a school? Instead, if I could just homeschool them, maybe it'd be better for our family and for our health. So this thinking came to my mind of, okay, so if I'm going to stay home, I'm going to work from home, I'm going to stay home, what do I need to do that? If I'm going to educate from home, what do I need to do that? And what companies are providing the information and the tools to do this? Well, let's start from the top. To do online education, you've got to have a virtual presence, which means you've got to be able to do a webcam. So who are the companies right now who are leading the way when it comes to both education and business of investing from the standpoint of doing web conferencing or video conferencing? Think of those companies. The second thing to think about is how is that information getting to you? How are you obtaining that information? And what pipelines are providing it? So are you doing it on your cell phone? Are you doing it via your internet, your cable internet, a satellite internet? What are the companies who are providing that information? Which then brings up the subject of 5G technology and the speed that 5G brings us data. I mean, it's a light speed, right? It's supposed to change everything from autonomous cars to how we communicate to doing everything. And then all of a sudden, education is thrown in there. So the speed that I'm able to get the data, the speed you're able to download this video is becoming vitally important because we are more and more online now. Who are the companies here in the US and throughout the world who are going to provide us that connection, that interaction, the 5G technology? And then from there, who are the companies who are going to provide security? The companies that are going to provide us the security so that I don't get spammed, that the bishop of my church, the district of my church is in, doesn't have some dummy account, somebody putting up an account, being imposturing him, I guess that's the word, And how do I create security to protect my information? How do I protect my computers? How do I protect my family? These are the companies now I'm looking for. So think about, how do I do video conferencing? Okay, the first stage. Second stage, how do I uh, get the best connection with super fast speeds? Who are those companies? And then security. Okay, so there's got to be a fourth one, right? There's got to be a fourth stage to all this. And I got to believe it's how we socialize. How are we communicating in a world where if I'm 4 feet in front of you, you can infect me with a virus that is deadly? Okay? And don't think this is the last one. This is probably an increase of these kind of COVID viruses is going to escalate according to some of the research I've done. So I'm now thinking, how am I socializing? How am I going to experience new movie premieres or concerts or just gatherings? How is that going to happen? And I think that comes in on the medical side of things. Who's going to provide the medical uh, products, goods, services that are going to protect my family and I's health? Those are the things that I'm thinking about right now. So that's 4 stages of companies that I believe will change the future. The key to it all is to weed out the weak and go to the leaders and identifying those leaders. And we'll talk about that in future videos of how to identify leading companies and the companies who are changing our world.